advertisements.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness specialize in getting rid of people's pain quickly and permanently. For 31 years, they've been extremely successful with advanced techniques in pain relief using spinal adjustments and decompression, detoxification, diet and lifestyle modification, and more. They are fully equipped to handle the most seasonal athlete, weekend warrior, car accidents, strains, sprains, and more. Is there anywhere you're experiencing pain on your body, or are you fighting decreased energy and depression? Consult Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness first at 402-476-8619.
Plungers and store-bought chemicals can only go so far and can harm your drains. Call the professionals at John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical to get your drains flowing. We won't only make sure the clog is taken care of, but we will ensure your drains are completely clean so the clog will not come back. Give John Henry's a call today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air,
and Electrical.
At Southeast Community College, community is our middle name. Our continuing education classes offer personal interest, traffic safety and licensing, online learning, and adult education classes across Southeast Nebraska, or online in your own home. Learn pottery or floral design, take a computer course, learn Spanish, how to start writing a book, or Air Fryer 101. See the full schedule of continuing education classes online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC, your path to possible.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Husker Extra Hour here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. I'm Austin Norman. I'll be taking you through the next hour. As always, I'll be joined by Sam McKewon and Tom Chatel, both of the Omaha World Herald. They'll join us on our VIP line brought to you by Aloe Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. As always, make sure you check out omaha.com for everything that Sam and Tom write. Let's bring Sam in right now. Sam, reading your grades column, you gave Nebraska an overall C for their performance against Wisconsin last night. To me, it seems like that's a fair grade for really most of Nebraska's games for the last month and a half or so. Based on what you've heard from Matt Rule, his body language and all that, do you think he's more frustrated by not being able to get his guys to play at, higher than a C level for a full game? Or do you think he's encouraged that his team is still competing while it's not at its best?
Probably the latter. You always have to zoom out and look at the big picture. Nebraska hasn't quit. They haven't played, a god-awful game since Michigan. They've played a lot of close games, and they've won a few, and they've lost a few. So after they lost to Michigan, they won, I think it was 3 straight over Illinois, Northwestern, and Purdue. And then they lost 3 straight to Michigan State, Maryland, and Wisconsin. And you can kind of match those teams up, right? Like Wisconsin and Illinois, very similar teams. Wisconsin beat Illinois, but they beat them right at the last second. Purdue and Michigan State, very similar teams. One was on home, one was on the road. And then Northwestern and Maryland are pretty similar too. Maryland's, I believe, 6-5. So was Northwestern, and Northwestern beat Maryland. And so, I think you have to kind of look at it like that. I think you win some of those, you lose some of them. There's just very little margin for error with this team right now. And when you have that little margin of error, what you hope is that you go 500 in those kind of games. Right now, I would say that they're a little below 500 because they lost to Minnesota at the beginning of the year. So, that's just kind of where things are at.
Those teams,
they're not perfect, but they're battling.
You mentioned all those teams at 6-5, Nebraska at 5-6. I think if you told Husker fans going into the year that they would have a shot to get bowl eligible against Iowa, they take it without knowing any of the context. But if you told them that they had 5 wins going into November and they'd still be searching for number 6, I'm sure that would change their tune a little bit. How have the last 3 weeks, changed or impacted the conversation about this team going into Iowa?
I think fans are a little frustrated with what they see from the offense. I think and they were frustrated by the end of game situation last week against Maryland. And I've heard some grumbling about the end of game situation this week against Wisconsin. What I will say is that the Maryland thing, I think, was a lot more objectionable than what they did against Wisconsin. I understand people don't understand why they let the clock run there. But of course, they don't get the first down, and things get a little interesting. So I can understand why people were frustrated by that. I think the goal that what Nebraska was trying to do there is make sure they did no worse than the tie and then go to OT, and they were able to achieve that. So I think there's some grumbling about that. I think there's some grumbling about not things just not feeling like they're just so. And that's because the margin of error just isn't big enough. I mean, they cannot afford to make small mistakes. And, there's a couple programs at Nebraska that I would describe like that. And then there's a couple programs at Nebraska that I would, Nebraska volleyball has a huge margin of error. They just do.
Mm-hmm.
They can have an off night and they still win. I think they kind of had an off day today against a bad Iowa team, but they still swept Iowa. Nebraska baseball has no margin of error. And so they can't overlook a midweek team, North Dakota State or whoever it is. They can't overlook that team. Nebraska football has no margin of error. They have to play well every single time they play in order to win, especially when they're in league, and they just haven't done it consistently enough. And so I think that's where they find themselves, and they're going against Iowa. And I'll tell you what, they can beat Iowa. They can beat them. I don't know that they will, but they can. And they'll have to play well. Iowa's a good team. It's a unique team that is, you don't necessarily look at a team that won 10-7 and 15-13 and scores like that and necessarily say they're good, but Iowa's good. They do a lot of things really well. And so Nebraska's going to have to play smart football in order to win.
That's been on Nebraska's docket for a while now. They've succeeded at times. They haven't succeeded at others. We're talking with Sam McKewon of the Omaha World Herald here. Sam, for people that might not understand the thought process as a coach, take them through how Matt Rule, Marcus Satterfield, and the offensive staff handled that last drive with the chance to score the touchdown, but kind of playing for the field goal, not using the timeouts.
Can you say that again, too? I didn't quite hear you.
Sorry. For the fans that might still be questioning the end of game situation, can you kind of walk them through what Matt Rule and Marcus Satterfield were thinking and why they played it the way they did?
Yeah, the only thing that they were really thinking of right there is that, they were going for a field goal to win the game or to tie the game, and they didn't want to sacrifice that. And I think the one thing that they could have done differently is when the clock was at about 40 seconds, call a timeout there on third down, before third down, run the play, and there you go. And, they didn't do that. They waited until 20 seconds, then they ran the play. I think they had, 12 seconds at the 13?
Mm-hmm.
12 seconds left. They decided to run one play and then kick the field goal. Matt Rule likened it to last week's situation. It wasn't the same situation. But that's the way you looked at it. I think they're just, I don't know how many plays they had. I'll be real honest with you. I don't know how many plays they had. When you got to overtime, I think you saw how many plays they had.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a lot of plays left. First play of overtime is an option right. Come on. I don't understand that play at all. That's not the play I would run. Certainly not. So they didn't have a lot of plays left. And I think, they kind of knew that. And they wanted to get their field goal. They were satisfied with what they had done, and they got their field goal. Certainly in a perfect universe, you're managing the clock differently there. But in the perfect universe, you got a quarterback who's not making his first start of the season. You got, like a Tanner Lee back there firing in the end zone, throwing to a guy like Stanley Morgan. So they don't have that. And so I think they played it a little conservatively. But I don't find what they did this week as egregious. I don't find it egregious. Last week I thought they made a mistake. They should have kicked the field goal there and relied on their defense to get the job done. But, now they're in a little bit of a pickle because, the week before they're like, we're playing to win. And then on Saturday they played to tie. So I have to be consistent and say that I prefer the more conservative approach in both, well, it's certainly in the first circumstance and somewhat in the second. But they seem to reverse they seem to reverse the results there. And I think that frustrated some people. So, they didn't want to risk an interception. I don't really blame them. I think if you get a timeout there and you take a timeout at the 40-second mark, you convert the third down, you're at the 12 or 13 or whatever it was. And let's say you got, 37 seconds left. You have a chance to run a quarterback draw there and maybe you hit it just the way that Wisconsin hit theirs. And, maybe you make it interesting, and maybe you get that thing down to the 4. And then you call another timeout. And then there's some plays you can run inside the 5 that are pass plays that are a little different than, the thing that they ran at the 7. You can start running fade plays and you can start running quick slants and some other things, but it's not easy at the 12. At the 12, it's not easy. You better know where you're throwing the football. You better have a backline play. You might have a corner route. There's some other things that you can do, but the quarterbacks have to sift through the traffic. It's not always easy.
Looking at the quarterback, what do you make of Chubba Purdy's growth from his first start at the Big House at Michigan last year and the improvement he made in a year to get in his second start at Camp Randall?
I thought he played well. I thought he threw the ball, got the ball out on time. Hit a couple of deep throws, but also got those quick ones going. So I was impressed with the work he did and thought he played well. And then he ran when it wasn't there. He ran. And there you go. And so it was the best that he could do. I think I thought he played pretty well. And, what kept him off the field before now, I don't know. We got to do a better job of reporting that, obviously, as reporters. We need to figure out, what kept him off the field. Obviously maybe it was the groin, maybe that was the issue. And that's unfortunate. Because he looked a lot more spry on Saturday than Heinrich Haarberg looked against Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
I think Haarberg, the turning point for Haarberg was late in that Purdue game. He took some shots in that game, and I just don't know if he's been quite the same since that game. Since those plays, and I thought Purdy looked a lot better than Haarberg's looked, against Michigan State or Maryland. And I understand that he's, we'll just have to ask better questions, more questions about, the nature of that situation, because I think if Jack Chubba Purdy plays against Michigan State, Nebraska wins the game. And, that's some stakes. There's some stakes at play. And you'd rather go win at Michigan State. And I was there. The crowd was not exactly jacked up than have to beat Iowa. Iowa's a much better team than Michigan State. So, we'll see what happens. It's probably going to be Purdy on Friday, and it's going to be a different experience than he had against Wisconsin because Iowa's nasty. I mean, they're a nasty defense, and they will get after him, and they will try to turn him over. They'll try to get some picks too.
Let's talk about the quarterback on the other side, Tanner Mordecai. He looked like prime Clayton Thorson to me. I mean, dicing Nebraska up with his legs in maybe a slightly unexpected way. Was that a credit to him? Maybe, sneaky athletic moniker pointed on him, or is that just bad tackling and bad scheme from Nebraska?
A little bit of both. Bad tackling on the one in the third quarter. When Wright just didn't wrap him up. On the overtime one, I've watched that play many times, and I don't know. It looks like somebody gets out of the gap, and Wright kind of ran past him, but Wright was off to his left. It felt like they caught him in something, and nobody got off the block. And sometimes when what you want to do to prevent a quarterback draw is you want to muddy up the middle. If you muddy up the middle, they're not going to bounce it because their momentum's already gone forward. So they didn't do that. They actually created a lane for him, and he was able to hit it. A lot of times quarterback draws are really effective on a 3-man rush. So if you have a 3-man rush, and you run and you hit a draw, those 2 guards can kind of just come up unabated. They can just go to the second level, and all of a sudden you got lead blockers, and so that's why you'll see that play sometimes on 3rd and 16, and it works. Shouldn't work on 3rd and 11 when you're bringing a 6-man blitz, but it did. And I think Mordecai was crafty. As that offense maybe learns a little bit more about itself as the season goes on, there's things they can get done, and they had some man beaters, and they did a nice job with that. And they hit some crossers, and I'm not going to say they made it easier for Wisconsin. I'm not sure they did, because they made Mordecai pause quite a bit. But he protected the ball. He didn't put it in harm's way. He was smart with it. He did the right things, and ultimately, I thought Nebraska played pretty well up there. And the C grade, I guess, is just reflective of the things they weren't able to get done, especially defensively wearing down. But I thought they played pretty well. That wasn't a terrible performance at all. I just returned the report card, but I would have given them a D or something worse at Michigan State. They should have won that game. That's the game they should have won, and they just sort of flat and disinterested, or not disinterested, but something.
Mm-hmm.
And then last week against Maryland, it happened. But now they got to find a way to beat Iowa. They can do it. Might be 7-6. You just never know. Just got to find a way to to manufacture 10 to 14 points, and hope your defense can hold Iowa all day.
What are your impressions of the Hawkeyes? Obviously, defense first, offense still struggling. Is the offense as bad as maybe people on Twitter would have us believe? And where does this Iowa defense rank compared to some of the really great units of years past?
It's as good of an Iowa defense as we've seen in terms of its structure and its playmaking. I don't think they have maybe as much talent as they did a couple of years ago or last year, but they're tremendous. They have the best punter in the nation, and that's no joke, and that's a big deal. They're so well coached on defense. They do things that are just so smart that it is hard to figure out. They don't have a ton of weaknesses, so you got to try to find those, and those aren't always easy to find. On offense, they're going to run power. They're not running as much zone as they normally do. So Iowa's long been a zone blocking scheme team. They run a little less of that, and they run a little bit more power I for I formation, downhill, and they can run the ball. They have a pretty good running game. It's not bad. Usually the way Iowa wants to use its run game is to run it for about 140 a game and set up a pass game that throws for 220 and keeps the chains moving and the clock moving and all that. I was very comfortable scoring 21 to 24 points and calling it good. They don't have a problem doing that. And the only teams that really can force them out of it and make them struggle are the top 10 teams in the country. Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, those teams. They can make Iowa look really stupid, but nobody else can. And so, Iowa will keep it. They'll balance it out. Their offense isn't overly complex, but, they can block. They're physical. To be very honest with you, that Iowa bothers Nebraska. Iowa's offense has given Nebraska some trouble. And so Iowa's offense, against other teams is what it is. Against Nebraska, it has had problems. I will say that Nebraska is going to run a lot of man, probably. And so I don't know that the quarterback, Deacon Hill, is going to run anybody. He's not going to run. He's not a runner. He's not going to beat you like Mordecai. So, I think they'll have some more success stopping the pass. And but Iowa has a formula. The formula is effective. It's like Wisconsin basketball when Dick Bennett was the coach. They went to the Final Four. Who cares if it's aesthetically pleasing? They knew what they were doing, and it's kind of like that. And you have to deal with what they bring to the table. And you know what? If you want to beat them, get better players, or make some plays. Get a Trey Palmer to go over the top. That's how you beat them. And a lot of teams really struggle to do it. They come close, but they don't actually win the game. And guess what? It doesn't matter if you come close, especially on Friday. Close won't get you a bowl game. A win will. And we'll see what kind of team Nebraska has.
I was just going to say, last thing for you then, on that kind of intangible side of things, do you give Nebraska an edge coming back home, fighting to get win number 6 after letting 3 opportunities slip away, and with Iowa having wrapped up the Big Ten West? Or is Iowa, not out of it intangibly because of how last year went and how Nebraska kept them out of the Big Ten championship game?
Oh, Iowa can't stand Nebraska, so intangibly they'll be ready. No, I think last year Nebraska outplayed them and outplayed them really well early. And Iowa's quarterback issues were such that, they were betwixt and between. They were trying to trust a guy who just couldn't get it done. And Petrus, and then Padilla was the same way. Padilla, however you say his name, I don't remember. No, Iowa treats this like a rivalry. They'll be more fired up than Nebraska probably will be, because Nebraska's been blasé about it. And as the losses have piled up, I got the sense that they cared more and more and more. And I felt like last year they were able to unleash that, because they weren't playing for anything other than the pride of winning that game and the trophy. They knew Mickey wasn't going to be the coach. They weren't playing for a bowl. They were just playing out of clean, old-fashioned hate, pride. And it showed in the way they played. I don't know how they'll play on Friday. I don't know if Matt Rule will embrace that. This program, the university has a hard time embracing that stuff. They don't like doing it, and they should, but they don't like doing it. And so Iowa has. Their coaches don't like Nebraska at all. So they've managed to make this game very personal for Iowa. Iowa will come in and play very hard. That doesn't change the fact that Iowa is limited by their quarterback play. If they had Tanner Mordecai, they might be 10-1. Coming into this game. So, but they don't, and so they have to do what they can do, and they're limited in what they can do at quarterback. So, I guess we'll see. But Iowa's intangibly will have the edge because they put a lot of energy into this rivalry, and they will take a great deal of pleasure in sending Brian Ferentz out as a winner in the regular season finale if they can.
Sam McKewon, as always, thanks for the Inside Huskers Hawkeyes on Friday. We'll look forward to reading you throughout the week on omaha.com. Thanks as always, Sam.
You bet. Take care.
Sam joins us on our Allo VIP line, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll be back with Tom Chatel. He'll give his thoughts on Nebraska, Wisconsin, and a little look forward to Iowa. I'm Austin Norman. This is the Husker Extra Hour on 93.7 The Ticket.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just the professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
The Mill Coffee and Tea. Formerly with 4 Lincoln locations, but now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios at 1040 O Street.
Ready to make this season unforgettable? Celebrate with Liberty First Credit Union's low-rate debt consolidation loan. Combine all those bills into one affordable monthly payment with quick access to funds. Imagine all the extra cash for holiday shopping sprees, festive parties, or that well-deserved vacation. Stop by any of their branches or visit libertyfirstcu.com to find out more about their low-rate debt consolidation loan. Make this holiday season one to remember and celebrate with Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose.
Are you looking for some holiday fun? This year, start a new tradition. Make the Nebraska Christmas Light Show experience an annual event for your family and a cherished memory to look forward to every year. From Black Friday to January 3rd, buckle up and tune into the rhythm of the lights and let the magic of Christmas take over with the show. Now located at Star City Shores, just off of 27th and Highway 2. Buy your tickets for just $20 or $25 per car today at NebraskaChristmasLightShow.com.
If your car has sent you to the sidelines, Eustace Body Shop can help. With gold-class certified technicians, OEM parts, and free loaner cars, Eustace Body Shop is your best choice this Husker season. And with 6 locations across central and eastern Nebraska, we've got you covered, whether you're rooting at home or you're headed to Memorial Stadium. Get a free online quote at EustaceBodyShop.com, and let's get you back in the game.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
USTOP is a member of LIBA, the Lincoln Independent Business Association, promoting local businesses through education, networking, and local government advocacy. This is why USTOP sponsors the LIBA Business Hour on the Ticket 93.7. Every time you fill up at a USTOP on a Tuesday, USTOP donates 2 cents for every gallon sold to local charities in our community. This month, USTOP has partnered with United Way of Lincoln and Lancaster County. Stop by USTOP and fill up every Tuesday to help us fuel our community.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Austin Norman with you, hosting the Husker Extra Hour. Big thanks to Sam McKewon for jumping on the line just a couple minutes ago. We head back to our VIP line brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. And we welcome in Tom Chatel, also of the Omaha World Herald. Tom, Nebraska almost did it. They almost went up to Madison and won. They had a close call there last time up there in Madison, had one in 2016. But yet again, Nebraska falls to Wisconsin the 10th straight time. This is a series I think the Big Ten really wanted to get off the ground. Nebraska hasn't held up its end of the bargain since joining the Big Ten. And there's a lot of factors. What do you think the biggest factor is in this Nebraska-Wisconsin series not becoming, Nebraska-Iowa level in terms of intensity?
Yeah, I just think it's just plain and simple that Wisconsin's had the better line play over the years, and they've also had better running backs. Now, Nebraska for a while had Abdullah and some other guys certainly, but they've just blocked and tackled better. Nebraska's been really sloppy over the last decade or so, and Wisconsin is a team that does things very, very solid, very, very, very sound in everything they do. So, and they've been well coached. I think the last couple of years, Nebraska has matched them up front. Good God, they should have won last year, Lincoln. They just couldn't stop them on that last drive, and then this thing. I thought this was Nebraska's. I thought this was their best game of the season last night, and probably, maybe without doubt, the best game that they played up there. So, still not good enough, though.
It's not, because you end up in the loss column yet again. 24-17, Wisconsin beats Nebraska in overtime. And Tom, I think that's a streak that got a little run, but not much in the conversation after last night's game. Nebraska not just hasn't won in overtime since 2014, but hasn't scored a point in overtime since Bo Pelini's last game. And that spans, now 3 coaches and Mike Riley, Scott Frost, and now Matt Rule, obviously. What's going on with the Huskers in overtime over the last decade?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really having a. I remember the Mike Riley. How many overtime games have there been? They played one up in Madison with Riley.
I think 6 or 8 of them since then. 6.
Is that right?
6.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember a lot of those. But that's weird that they haven't scored. That they, have had the players to do that. I guess I'll just go with the old standard lack of execution. that's got them into this bowl streak as well. So I'll just go with that.
So yeah, since 2015, Nebraska has had at Miami in 2015, at Wisconsin in 2016, Northwestern back-to-back years, 2017-18, Colorado 2019, Michigan State 2021, and then this year's Wisconsin game. No points. They've lost them all, which is just an absolutely incredible streak, but it spans quarterbacks too. Chubba Purdy almost led a game-winning drive last week, led a game-tying drive this week, and I think he looked much more in control and in command than he did in his first start at Nebraska in the Big House. What do you make of Chubba Purdy's improvement and confidence gain from his one start last year to his start last night?
It was a total revelation, Austin. I said before the game, I thought Wisconsin was going to win. I thought this will be ugly. Wisconsin's not playing well. Nebraska can't really score. I said, for Nebraska to win this game up here, they're going to have something unexpected happen, something that just kind of comes out of nowhere. And well, that something was Chubba Purdy. We hadn't seen that all year. Certainly he hasn't played, and because he's been hurt. But I think I'd like to see it again next week. But I think they got their quarterback, and it just kind of happened by accident because Heinrich Haarberg got hurt. The guy who played last night is the quarterback that they need. Chubba threw the ball right to receivers. They weren't high, they weren't low, they weren't here, they weren't there. He made plays. He got out of trouble. He was really elusive and kind of shifty, and he was deceptively fast. The touchdown run was like, where did that come from? He went boom, 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 and then a couple of runs he scrambled out of the pocket and almost got the first down, but he's just very poised. And so, was it perfect? No, of course not. It never is. But he showed me a lot. Again, I'd like to see him back that up again. But, that tells me if he can be that guy, they may not have to go. It takes the pressure off of going into the portal after the season. Now, I think they still will. But if he plays like that, I think he's going to be the guy going forward.
Let's talk about the skill positions too. We've seen a lot of young guys cycle into the rotation due to injuries and maybe just elevated play as well. But you look at Emmett Johnson, 13 carries for 50 yards. Jalen Lloyd, the long touchdown bouncing off a couple tackles. Malachi Coleman, that 26-yard catch to move the sticks. What do you make of Nebraska's young skill position guys? Do any of them look like they can be pieces for this team in years to come?
Yeah, I think so. The receivers especially. I just wish we'd see more of Emmett Johnson. I feel like we get that thing going, and then and they get that thing going, and then all of a sudden it's time to run reverse, or time to run the pass back to the quarterback, which, by the way, neither of those plays was blocked at all.
Right.
There was a guy waiting they had a Wisconsin defender was right there waiting to make the play blow up. So, I feel like they get the thing going, and then they got to pass. And but last night there was. I'd like to see more of Emmett John. They've got Ramir Johnson's done, but Urban, I think he can come back, can't he? I think so. I don't know. I think they're going to. They'll probably make a pass out in the portal and see what else is out there. They've certainly got I think a lot of options, though. I think those are good options. Do they need to build depth? Yes.
Let's talk about the Wisconsin running game, too, here on the other side of things for the defense, Tom. Wisconsin has had running backs go 40 carries for 156 yards against Nebraska individually. That's what Wisconsin did as a team. Braylon Allen played the most he has in a few weeks, 22 carries, but only 62 yards. What did you make of Nebraska's rush defense against this Wisconsin offense?
Good, but not good enough. Again, they played, and they stood him up a couple times on fourth down. they gave the ball back to the offense in time to make that last drive. But just there were a couple plays where Wisconsin, Mordecai found a guy open, and it just seemed like there was always a play that just kept the Wisconsin drive going or got them into the end zone. Just Nebraska hasn't been as efficient or as a dominant as they were earlier in the year. Maybe they're wearing down. Maybe some offenses are figuring things out. But I give them credit. They rebounded. They kind of struggled there in the middle of the game, second and third quarter, but they bounced back in the fourth, and they gave them a chance to go win the game. But in overtime, Braylon Edwards he's still running the ball. He got in the end zone. The one time they didn't get enough pressure on the quarterback at all, but the one time they threw a blitz at him in overtime, he caught it and he saw it coming and he got out of the way and he gained 9 yards. So they were just a step and a play behind at times last night, and didn't get enough pressure. So, but I say that about the punter and about everybody. They just need to bring everything together for this Friday and just play their absolute best game of the year.
And they needed to go to a bowl. Nebraska sits at 5-6. They've seen Maryland get bowl eligible with a win over Nebraska. They saw Wisconsin do it last night. It's got to be about Nebraska's turn. Tom, it feels like the 3 weeks before the 3 losses, Nebraska was getting away with some stuff. It almost feels like some sort of, cosmic football justice tab was paid. So it all comes down to Black Friday against Iowa. I think if you told Husker fans before the year that they'd have a chance to beat Iowa to go to a bowl game, they'd sign up for that. But the last 3 weeks have changed the conversation. I think there's some angst and some frustration or disappointment in this fan base because they've already had 3 chances at it. And now it comes down to Iowa, who, again, might not look pretty, but is on something of a roll in winning the Big Ten West already. What do you make about the conversation around the Nebraska-Iowa game this week?
Yeah, it's funny how the dynamic works. I mean, at the beginning of the year, people would have loved to have had 6-6. I must say they got spoiled, but they got teased a little bit. They got their hopes up with 4 games left. They're sitting at 5 wins. Well, surely this will happen. We'll get that 6-1, and they haven't got it. So now the frustration, which I think most people understand, this was the first year of a long-term project. I think people were ready to be a little patient. But somebody are going to expect, a lot more next year and year 3. But now they kind of got their hopes up. And what I thought was really kind of funny was it went last night when, they, a real mismanaged the clock on that last drive, and people are going nuts that he didn't attack and he didn't try to put more. He didn't try to go for the touchdowns, and he was too conservative, and he settled for the tie and overtime. And I just said, last week we were on the guy because he wasn't conservative, and he tried to go for the jugular, and he got burned. Now we're mad at him because he was conservative. So I just think people just want to win. That's why they're frustrated. I'll tell you what, last night I was sitting there in the press box and I'm going to myself, okay, 10 seconds is off, 20 seconds is off. You're wasting time. But then I'm also saying to myself, okay, don't do anything stupid here. Don't start throwing passes in the end zone because you haven't had a turnover. I wouldn't dare say that out loud. I didn't want to jinx it. But they hadn't had a turnover. I'm thinking that damn turnover is coming. Mm-hmm. If they tempt fate, if they press their luck and try to start chucking balls in the end zone, it's going to get tipped. They're going to throw to the wrong guy, and then everybody will be really pissed that they didn't get the field goal off to the good to in overtime. So I'm just like going, just get to overtime. get the field goal now, get to overtime, and then just take your chances. Because it's just, we've seen so many times. Jeff Sims in Minnesota throwing that ball before halftime and intercepted in the end zone, and just every week it seems like there's been some play that happened that got in the way of them winning. And I was sitting there. So last night I was not saying, take your shots. I was saying, don't take your shots. Take the field goal and let's try to get out of here. But the bottom line is people are on them. They want to win. And I just thought it was kind of funny that, back-to-back weeks we're saying, no. And then the next week, no again for something else. So they just want to win. So, it's I think a lot of people are exhausted. It's been a roller coaster, and it's been a grind for everybody.
Would a bowl be enough payoff to get people to be, done being tired of it? Would it be exciting enough to get to 6-6?
Yeah. It's in fact, now it feels like the only real progress that anybody is gonna want is going to that bowl game. If they don't go to the bowl, they lose their last 4 and they end up 5-7. I'll be able to write, there was progress. This thing is better. It's just not good enough. But nobody's going to want to hear that. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to want to read that. At this point, they just need to get that last win.
Last thing for you then, Tom, on that similar front, who has the intangible edge coming to Lincoln on Friday? Is it Nebraska going for win number 6 with a rival at home? Or does Iowa still have an intangible edge despite wrapping the Big Ten West up with revenge on its mind and trying to keep Nebraska home from a bowl game?
Well, Iowa's got the edge there. They had no pressure. And they, Ferris hates Nebraska already. And, the very definition of a rivalry is to inflict pain on your rival. Well, what better way for them to inflict pain than to deny Nebraska going to a bowl game? So that's all set up on a tee for them. Who's going to get the 10 points first? That's my question.
That will be answered on Friday. Tom, as always, thanks for the time. A very happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. We'll look forward to the dispatch from Black Friday.
Can't wait. Thanks a lot. Take it easy.
Appreciate it. There he is, Tom Chatel of the Omaha World Herald, with us on our Allo VIP line. Allo, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We'll take one quick break. I'll wrap up the show and get you set up for the Husker Rewind. Tom and Mike, Tom Stevens, Mike Melby waiting in the wings for the Husker Rewind. That comes up next after we wrap up the Husker Hour here on 93.7 The Ticket.
The holidays are drawing closer, and there's not many things better than getting the gift of relaxation. Not just for yourself, but for anyone in your life. During November, for every service you get at the Body Shop, you get entered into their drawing for a free massage gift certificate equal to your last service. This goes all the way to the week before Christmas, so book your appointments now at thebodyshoplincoln.com and treat yourself and loved ones today. The Body Shop at 48th and A.
So I switched my insurance to State Farm, and get this. I talked to an actual State Farm agent who lives in my actual town. And get this. My actual agent in my actual town gave me actual help with the coverage I needed. And get this. My actual agent in my actual town who gave me actual help actually knows my name. And get this. They actually say it's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
It's phishing season. Bad actors are trolling your business emails, luring you and your employees to take the bait and steal your private information. Make sure your cybersecurity keeps your business from being the catch of the day. At Hamilton, cybersecurity is our business. We are experts at keeping your network and business information secure and off the hook. Contact Hamilton for a vulnerability assessment today. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Are you looking for some holiday fun? This year, start a new tradition. Make the Nebraska Christmas Light Show experience an annual event for your family and a cherished memory to look forward to every year. From Black Friday to January 3rd, buckle up and tune into the rhythm of the lights and let the magic of Christmas take over with the show. Now located at Star City Shores, just off of 27th and Highway 2. Buy your tickets for just $20 or $25 per car today at NebraskaChristmasLightShow.com.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Whether you're booking a trip to Lincoln for a football game or a volleyball weekend, the Scarlet Hotel at Innovation Campus is the place for you. The Scarlet Hotel is special on many levels, from the delicious Well and Good restaurant on the main floor to the coolest rooftop patio bar in Lincoln, the Barred Owl, on the top floor of the hotel with great views of the city and one of the coolest drink menus. Book your stay or book a staycation today at scarlethotelnebraska.com.
School taught you all about the 4 seasons: spring, summer, and so on. And then there's the way we really tell what time of year it is in sports seasons: football season, baseball season, or off season. But what's the chocolate season? Well, it's now. And now, and now, and always. Whether you're looking for a caffeinated pick-me-up on the way to work, a little snack on the way home, or you need the perfect gift that's sure to be appreciated, it's time for the chocolate season. 40th and Old Cheney, or order ahead at thechocolatseason.com.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Austin Norman back with you one final time here on the Husker Extra Hour. Big thanks to Sam McKewon and Tom Chatel for joining us on our VIP line, brought to you by Aloe Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Joined in studio by the guys who are coming up next, Tom Stevens and Mike Melby. Guys, I said it last night, fool us once, shame on us, shame on them. Fool us twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, shame on us. Shame on us.
Shame on us.
Absolutely shame on us. Nebraska's right there. Again, I'm sure you guys will talk about it, but how do we keep letting ourselves fall for the okie doke?
Well, I think we all watch those games at the end, knowing that Nebraska how many, they've lost more than 1-score games than anybody in college football, certainly over the last 4 or 5 years. And so this, you've seen this movie, you just don't know how it ends. Every movie's the same. And there's just a different punchline at the end. This week, it's just mismanagement. Oh, yeah. Last week was mismanagement. I guess mismanagement is a theme, different ways, where last week you had the explanation that, hey, we were just trying to win the knockout blow and score a touchdown, where they could have kicked a field goal and won that game. This week, they needed a touchdown to win the game, and they settled for the field goal. So it feels like there's some things to criticize, and not so much the players. I think it falls squarely on Matt Rule, the management situations of the last couple of weeks.
If I told you Nebraska had no turnovers at Wisconsin, you probably feel pretty good about your chances.
Yeah, well, one turnover that didn't even count.
Last one.
Yeah, it was the last one, and he had to make that throw. Not a great throw. Probably could have been completed for a first down. But Purdy played great. And you've got to say that version of Chubba Purdy, Mike, would have lifted to Nebraska to, 7-8 wins by now?
Yeah, I still think if Chubba Purdy would have been healthy to come in and replace Jeff Sims in the Colorado game, I think he would have. I think Harburg was 3rd on the depth chart before the groin injury to Purdy, from everything that I've heard. I wasn't there. I don't know. But that's kind of what I've gathered from a lot of things that have been said. But at the end of the day, bottom line is, I said it last week, as a coaching staff, your job is to put your players in positions to be successful. And Marcus Satterfield offensively continues to put Nebraska's players in difficult positions where they got to make a spectacular play, or let's go be aggressive unless we can go win the game. And none of it makes any sense. I'm genuinely losing a lot of my belief in this staff, including Matt Rule, and whether or not they can have a championship caliber team.
I get it.
I don't steal too much of your conversation. What else is coming up on the Rewind over the next couple hours?
We've got Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Of course, we'll talk a lot about this stuff. We'll do the grades. We've got the picks of density. Tanya Taki will be on the show.
Volleyball clinches.
Yes,
that's
the
right.
Banners going up.
And a lot of Husker basketball talk today.
Nice.
Well, that too. And then congrats to John Walker and the Husker soccer team
Elite
headed
Eight.
to the Elite Eight.
It's really cool.
Heck
really
yeah.
cool.
Tom Stevens, Mike Melby on the Husker Rewind coming up next. Once again, big thank you to Sam McKewon and Tom Chatel of the Omaha World Herald for joining me here on the Husker Extra Hour. From Husker Extra to Husker Rewind, don't go anywhere. 2 hours with Tom and Melby comes your way here in just a minute on 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive. Always honest answers.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Experience flexibility like never before with Ace Rent-to-Own. Whether you're decorating a new home or upgrading your electronics, they provide easy payment plan options that suit your budget. No credit checks, no hefty interest rates, just straightforward renting solutions designed with you in mind. Find great options to make a beautifully furnished space or surround yourself with the latest gadgets. With Ace Rent-to-Own, it's all within your grasp. Visit acerentoown.com and bring home more than just a product. Bring home a lifestyle. If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.